Hello and welcome to DJ Badaskal's channel. This is Pioneer DDJ 1000 series of questions that we're trying to answer. In this part, I will try to do a comparison of Pioneer DDJ 1000 to the Pioneer DDJ 400 that I still have, and why do I continue to have both. You can also find other questions in the same series, which is my experience with the machine, how it helped me to be a better DJ. Why did I choose Pioneer over a Roland or over a Denon? You can also find answer to a question in the same series, which is about why did I choose this controller over a standalone mixer like a Pioneer RX2. This particular section we talk about comparison with DDJ 400, and a lot of you have been asking since you might want to upgrade from a 400 to a 1000, and I'm assuming most of you are beginner DJs or DJs like me. So let me start with the machine. If you want a detailed review of the machine and how it has helped me to become a better DJs, the links are up on the top. The links are also there for all the other questions I've asked. The links are also in the bottom in the description section. And I would seriously urge you to watch those videos. Don't forget to do all the good things like, comment, share and subscribe to my channel. In case you have more questions that I have not covered in this section, feel free to put them in the comments and I'll try to answer them as videos. So let's have a look at the two. Let me just first physically compare how different these are. So you can see, and I'm not putting it on top, but you can see the Pioneer DDJ 1000 or 1000 is almost 1.5 size bigger than the DDJ 400. DDJ 400 is a super compact, beautiful machine. Still the same Nexus 2000 and SX2 setup. So if you look at the whole thing, and I'm going to put it here, it's got the two decks, deck A, deck B. It's got the mixer section in the center. Very, very similar look and feel. What happens here is exactly what's happening here, just a smaller size. Now there are tons of extra features in this device, and that's exactly why you will upgrade, and you can check the video on the review which will tell you about feature. I'll still do a feature comparison, not comparison, but what is better, what is the upgrade. So let me start first. Of course, very, very obvious is the size itself. It's big. And when it's big, it's beautifully laid out. You look at these capacitive jog wheels, and you look at this jog wheel, it's a 7-inch jog wheel, it's a 4-inch, I suppose 3.5, 4-inch, very, very small. Now, I will not get into size so much, but I'll get into why does the size matter and what does the bigger size do compared to a smaller size. Two things happen when you look at this jog wheel itself. One is the capacity or your tendency to beat match becomes much easier because of the size compared to this one. That's what I have felt, like it's much easier for me to get used to the bigger size of the jog wheel than this jog wheel. The jog wheel also feels sturdy. This machine also gives me an option to fix the resistance of the jog wheel, like I can make it really light. Now when I do light, you can see it's now going on and on. When I make it really heavy, it just stops. Usually I keep it at the default, which is the center, to beat match it. This one is one single size. But bigger size does make it easier. It also has a display in the center. I really haven't managed to use much of it, except that I sometimes look at it to see if both my decks are beat matched, they have the same BPM. That's what exactly I'm using it for. It has more features, which I will eventually explore. The second thing, which is which really I believe is a big upgrade, is the slider. So when you look at this slider and you look at this slider, so this is the slider, much smaller slider. And this is a much bigger slider. So what happens is, now the BPM that you can move around is actually set by the software, +6, +6, +10, +16, or much wider. In my case, I think it's set to +10 right now. I can see it on the display screen right here. So when I was using a smaller slider, what it was doing is it became a little hard for me to beat match to the precise level. So 122 moving to 124, I will always be near 124, but I will take some time to get it right, keep touching it lightly, knocking it, tapping it. In this case, that has become slightly easier for me. So yeah, it makes it much easier to actually hit the right BPM and move your song around and bring it to the right BPM, which is playing in the next deck, compared to the smaller slider on DDJ 400. The other thing that this machine comes with, which is a huge upgrade, is in terms of the effects. So this effect that you see is hardwired into the hardware. It has 14 effects here, what you see, and this is the section that you have to look at. Here the effects, the same level button, the on off button, and this is the button, the knob, which lets you choose between deck 1, deck 2, deck 3, deck 4, and so on and so forth. Master, in this one you have the option of 1, 2 and master as a button. My personal preference is always knobs. They are much easier to use than the buttons. The other thing that happens is here, this is the knob that helps you choose the 14 effects. Here is a button which is a drop down in the software. So I was always scared of using it because I was a little worried that if I don't get the right one and I keep pressing it, so I never used it. Then there is a beat tap. What this beat tap means is, which is the same beat button here. When you apply a certain effect, let's say low cut echo in this case, you can choose the low cut echo to be on 4 beat, 8 beat, 2 beat, 1/16 beat, half beat, or any size of the beat that you want. As it gets tighter, the effect gets tighter. So you can imagine we are moving from tuck, 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 like that. Now again, I wouldn't use this much because I can't see, or you have to look at the machine to see. So two things here, when you're pressing it, there's a little display right here where you can see. So overall, if I think on upgrade from here to here, I become much better in applying effects. And sometimes when I play, I can see comments coming in which people are saying, oh, DJ Butterskull has acquired a new skill and it's pretty handy, and they typically will say some nice thing about it and it feels good. So yeah, it has helped me really apply the effects, which I wasn't doing it here. In terms of the equalizers, very much the same, the trim. The other difference that happens is like a CDJ, which are two independent machines. The load buttons are two independent for both the channels compared to here where I had a single knob and then can load it onto A or B using these two buttons. Here, this one has a whole section of back view, same goes here. The top section is pretty much similar except that this has a button for quantize and slip, which this one doesn't have. The same beat in out, which is the CDJ part in both the machines. Again, 4 channels compared to 2 channels, much better. Bagwell fader, much smoother, easier. This one has a bit more resistance, and I can show you the difference. When I push it here, it won't come back. When I push this one here, it will come back. So much smoother, definitely much smoother. Also, it comes with some lights, flashy stuff. Looks good. That is more like look. Buttons are bigger, without saying that. You can see the two buttons much bigger. The beat pads are bigger. This one, the beat pad, you have to press a bit. This one is almost like a touch button. The jog wheels are capacitive, which means when you touch, they react. These are mechanicals, which means you have to press. So I don't know if you can hear, but if I play a track here, I'm pressing now, pressing. If I touch, nothing happens. I press, it stops. While in this machine, if I touch, the song will stop. Useful for scratching, but again, I have not reached that level of scratching, so hard for me to comment, but yeah, it's there. It's good to have. Eventually, I will scratch, so good to have. Then the other part which is there which is a huge upgrade, is in terms of the output. Now, this system usually struggled when I connected it to a sound system in a bar or in setup. With this system, I've actually hosted 2 parties. One is a party I hosted at one of my friends' farewell party, which we hosted in a private club, small private club. They had a great sound system there. And the second party was one of my younger cousin brother, his wedding party. Again, we were connected this to the DJ was already there, and I connected this system to his CDJ setup. What happened in both the cases was that the output from this system was pretty low. So there was a lack of gain. So what these two guys had to do was they had to increase the sound from the output sound of their systems, and they were a little scared because when you increase too much sound, there's a chance of the system going off. I had to put the trim to almost full, which is +9 when you look at the knob. The master I had to put to full, and then I could get a decent sound quality. Compared to this one, even if I put my master at like the maximum knob, so there is a knob that indicates the max where you can go, which is this level, if you can see it. In this case, you can see it right here. And my trim typically stays at half, and I sometimes use to like bring the song is on a lower volume, I try to bring it up. So that was a huge upgrade. When I take this system now and I connect it, the output is beautiful. It sounds great. Of course, you want to have a great sound when you're playing because it becomes very immersive, and great sound is what people are there for. The audience wants great sound. Now, even when I do the telecast, the live telecast when I do every Saturdays, my friends do tell me they feel the sound has improved drastically. So that is one big difference that happened over the DDJ 400 compared to the DDJ 1000. I'm not getting too much into the other parts now. Again, this one, when you look at the pads, this particular DDJ 1000 gives you 16 pads, and there are these 2 buttons that make you move left or right. This one is again 6 pads. The size of the pads is bigger. These are all red color pads. This one you can configure. There are options of 8 or 9 colors that you can configure. Again, that comes in very handy. How does it come in handy? For example, when I'm setting hot cues, I can choose color code. Like in my case, I choose a yellow color code for intro of 32 beat. I choose green color code for lyrics. I choose red color code for out 32 beat. So without looking into the system, I already know which one is what. So I know the lyrics is green. I don't have to look into the system. I can just press. It also saves a lot of effort when you're queuing. Efforts in terms of writing it down. So on the cue point, you don't even have to write. Now the color code itself will tell you what exactly is happening. There something that has also improved is in terms of the output. The DDJ 400 mic, which is an unbalanced input, is actually, I don't even know why it's there. It's quite shitty. If you put the mic here, you really have to push the mic volume to maximum and you can hear that hissing sound. So this mic input is more like a tick mark than actually any utility. It's absolutely shit. While this one has 2 mic inputs and the mic work beautifully, it's got an option of off, on and talk over. Talk over means that when you are speaking something on the mic, the volume of the channel will automatically go down. So it's like a talk over the music that is playing. So mic you can insert into this, though that might or might not be a good feature. Now that is there is great, but I typically don't use it. And why I don't use it is because every time I use a mic, I put the mic into an audio mixer so that when I record this and every time I play a set, I will record. I would advise you also to record in Serato because when you're recording, it records in the wave format, which is a lossless format. Of course, input decides the output, but still it's a better format than MP3 to start off with. 2, this has an inbuilt sound card, which even this has a 192 kilohertz sound card, which pushes out great audio quality. So even if your songs are not the best quality, you're ripping it from somewhere or wherever you're getting it from, they're not 320 kbps or they are not the top end quality that it should be, which is still all right. The output of this one is beautiful compared to the output of, let's say, if you're recording your stream, that and the camera has sound, you've inserted a pin, everything is fine. That audio will not be as great as the audio which is coming directly from this mixer, and you can record it through Serato. Serato has an option to record. So that is good. And since I'm recording this, I don't want the mic in that because I want to take that feed and keep it a clean feed and upload on YouTube later. So I use a mic through a mixer. So the input of this one goes into a mixer. There's a mic that is plugged into the mixer and I use that mic so that the recording of this one is a clean feed. So mic is a good thing to have, very good for gigs. Typically you will not be recording gigs because you are doing a lot of cuts there, you're playing a lot of requests there. So it's not a set, it's just a gig. That one you will not upload as it is. So great to have, fantastic mic input here compared to the DDJ 400. So again, very good. In terms of output, it gives you master left and right and unbalanced output to the RCA. In this case, it gives you an output of XLR, which you can see right here, which is a balanced. Then again, there is a balanced master output of unbalanced master output of RCA and booth balanced output. Input options are also, or 4 channels can take input. Again, there is no input here. There are 2 headphone knobs, but again, you won't be using it. So having 2 headphone knobs is good, or outlets, 2 headphone jacks is good when you're changing with a DJ, but otherwise you won't be plugging in 2 headphones, so not a very important feature if you're playing standalone. Both the systems come with record box, which is free out of the, it comes with a key that you can download record box 5 and you can play, so that is great. So slider is good, the beat pads, 16 beat pads, 4 here, the buttons are here to move around, the effects which you can apply on the fly. Another difference which is here in the mixer, oh my god, is this little 2 knobs, the filter knobs. So currently this one is programmed and is hardwired as low pass filter, high pass filter. In case of a DDJ 1000, you can choose. You have the option of noise, high pass, low pass, dub echo and pitch. So whatever you apply, these color buttons will respond to that. Again, these are hardwired into the system. There is an option of mic equalizers, low and high frequency, again limited to the mic. This doesn't have those options. Again, of course, a basic entry-level system. But before I sum it up, for a basic entry-level system, this is a fantastic system. Now, when I upgraded to my DDJ 1000, I had this thought of selling it off, but I wouldn't do that. And why I wouldn't do that? It's an interesting thing. Because 2 things. Now, this system, if you compare it to my laptop, is not that big. It does fit into my laptop bag. and it also fits into my table. So if you look at the table, this is where typically I sit down. My monitor, my laptop is right there, my monitor speakers, and I will cue the songs, I will discover the song, so I can put it here. And this is very handy to cue. Now why I say very handy to cue, because I use the beat jump feature to go 32 beat, 64 beat up and down the song from the point where I want to play or I want to exit. So very good that I keep it here and I can play around with it. I have my mouse and keyboard, and this one fits perfectly right here, and I can still continue to use it. This one will not fit, much bigger. The second thing I think why I want to keep it is because sometimes when I want to go out and I want to play and I don't want to carry this beast with me, this is good enough to play. So again, I'm saying it's a great system. It's not a bad system at all. I started with it, I will keep it, I will continue to play on it. But this is an upgrade. This is definitely an upgrade. 4 channels, options of mixers, better sound output, don't have to worry about the gain levels, bigger jog wheels, bigger slider, so you can beat match to precision, don't have to worry about point 1, point 2 here. You have to keep tapping this. More keypads, 4 channels, the mixers are inbuilt into the hardware. So yeah, overall I feel this is a great system. Needs external power supply, yes, which this one does not need. So if you're upgrading from a 400, I would seriously suggest a DDJ 1000. Now why I would not choose an 800? 800 has all the features that this system has, except that it's a 2 deck. So if you can wait, you can spend a bit more, you can take the installment options on your credit card. Please go with the 4 channel mixer, because eventually you'll upgrade, your skills will become better, you'll get bored of the 2 channel, you want to bring in the 3 channel. And as a DJ, you do tend to have this feeling in your mind that if I can play more, I can mix more and my technique is better. It's awesome. It's internally, it's a very satisfying feeling. So I've kept that option open. I do think at some point in time, I will try to buy a CDJ. Not now, maybe 1 year down the line, I'll buy a second-hand CDJ. Not the top end 2000 NSX, but maybe like a 700, 800 for maybe $200, $300 if I can get, and plug it here and just try to play as a 3 mixer channel. So I would request over a 800 and 1000 both have the same features, except that this is a 4 channel one. Try to go for a 4 channel if you can, but if your budget strictly doesn't allow you, then 800 is also a great upgrade over the 400. And if you're just beginning and you have the budget to buy, then you buy this one. Don't buy the 400, buy this. You can figure out ways to transport it. I have bought a bag, which I'm going to be using. So that should answer the question of my comparison of DDJ 1000 with DDJ 400, which is right here. Again, both are great mixers. This is an upgrade. There are other questions that I have answered, which is about why did I choose a Pioneer over a Denon, or why I chose a 1000 over a Prime 4, which is a standalone mixer. Why I chose Pioneer 1000 over a RX2 XDJ, which is a standalone mixer. Even my review of why it made it better. So those questions are again there. You can check the channel, or you can look in the link below, or I'll try to leave the links up on the top here. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to do all the good things. Like, comment, share and subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell, so every time I upload video you get a notification. If you have any questions, do not hesitate. I will try to answer it in the comments, or I will try to answer it as a video. Put it up there and I will try to answer most of the questions that you have. Thank you so much for watching. This is DJ Badaskal.